right, we're back. Next up, we are going to talk about the NFL draft. Obviously, the combine is going on right now in Indianapolis. Personally, I think it's just a big waste of time, but they do it every year for some reason. We're going to talk about some quarterbacks, some other guys to be on the lookout for. I know you wanted to chat about the quarterback, so
Yeah.
I'll let you kick it off for us.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring that up towards the end of our last session is because this, for me, this draft is going to be the changing of the guard in the NFC at the quarterback position. Remember last year, at the beginning of the year, we talked about how all the good young quarterbacks were in the AFC.
Yep.
So this year's
Yep.
quarterback class is actually one of the deepest, most talented quarterback classes there has been in the last
Yeah.
couple of seasons. The NFC is really ready for an influx of quarterback talent. They've got
Absolutely.
most of the top draft picks. Bears sitting at number 1,
Yep.
likely to take Caleb Williams. The
Yeah.
Commanders are up there,
Number 2.
likely to take a quarterback, right? Then the Patriots, they probably will take a quarterback as well, right?
I would if I was him.
I would. So then you get another quarterback in the AFC. You got the Cardinals, who are actually getting a healthy Kyler Murray back.
Yeah.
So
Who's still very young.
Still very young, right?
Skill set is off the charts if he could just stay on the field. He's just a frail guy. Little guy. Let me take that back. He's not a frail guy. I mean, he's tough as hell.
He's just a smaller
He's
quarterback.
just smaller than everybody else on the freaking
Yeah.
field. And hey,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was throwing the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. though. That might that might back the defense up a little bit.
And I think that's who they go ahead and pick up in the draft. But I guess what I was getting at is this draft is the
Yeah.
perfect year for the NFC to really make
Yep.
some noise and get their quarterbacks. A lot of those teams, really that's what they need is a quarterback. And it'll be exciting to see because I think you'll see a lot more competition in divisions like the NFC South that wasn't really great this year, but I think that's all because of lack of good quarterback play, So,
Yep.
And again, the class is deep. There's going to be a lot of fantasy implications with this quarterback class. I'm going to tell you
Yep.
that right now, and we'll talk about that maybe later or another day. But I'm excited. Get your research in now because I'm telling you, a lot of fantasy implications with this draft class.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be it's going to be a really deep quarterback class, obviously. I think for a lot of these guys, where you go, just like always, right? Remember a couple years ago, the draft that Mac Jones was in, Trey Lance, all of those guys, right? Some guys ended up in a good spot. Other guys didn't work out, right? Obviously, San Francisco with Trey Lance is the most glaring one. Never really even got started there. And now we know Brock Purdy's taken over and has done a phenomenal job. So they traded him to Dallas, right? Justin Fields started off slow. He was in that draft. He's come along. He's shown flashes and he's gotten better as his 2-3 years has gone on. Then you have Mac Jones, who had a great rookie season. Looked like he was going to be close to the next Tom Brady, and then he just fell off the map, forgot how to throw the football, all that good stuff. So it's always obviously, dependent on the situation they go into. I don't think any of these guys at the front of the draft are going into a great situation at all. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Maybe they're that they find the next CJ Stroud and it doesn't matter what the situation is and he creates a brand new situation whoever they draft. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this draft works out with the quarterbacks.
I'm going to say this. There's one team at the top of the draft where you're going to get a quarterback who's going to just love going. I'm going to tell you right now. The Commanders.
Huh?
The weapons on that offense are good. Not good. They're great. You have McLaurin. Scary Terry, baby. Yeah. So you have McLaurin. You got Dotson, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson as your running backs. You've got a good O-line. I think the Commanders is actually a good spot for a young quarterback to land. And that division, crazy as it is, it's always changing.
It's always having turnover.
It's always having turnover. So you never know, right? Their defense is pretty good in Washington. Not great.
Yeah.
They're better than average. So I think watch out for who the Commanders draft because that is Not you never say an ideal spot
Yeah.
when a team's picking at the
True.
top of the draft.
But it
But if you're a quarterback and you're
could
going
be a
to
nice
team with,
situation going.
yeah, those weapons are great.
Yeah.
Those weapons are great. And yeah, Grant, I know Chicago, they got DJ Moore, but they got DJ Moore.
That's
Who
it.
are their running backs?
Yeah.
Who are their
Justin
other
Fields.
receivers? You know, exactly. Who will not be on the team
Yeah,
when
they draft
and if they draft
Caleb
Caleb Williams,
Williams.
right? So I think the Commanders
Yeah.
actually would be a phenomenal spot for one of these quarterbacks to land.
I just can't wait. The Bears being the Bears. I
Yeah.
hope you draft Caleb Williams because then I get to sit there and say, I told you. Don't do it. Don't do it. None of you guys. Don't draft him. Anyways, we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but I think there's one quarterback in this class that isn't getting talked about enough, in my opinion, and that's Jaden Daniels. Not getting talked about enough.
I don't know. I guess it just depends on who you follow and what you follow because I hear a lot of news about Jaden Daniels.
No, I hear a lot of news about him. It's just the talk about Caleb Williams and Drake May is still amplified over him, and I don't see a big gap between them. As a matter of fact, I think that he's the best quarterback in this draft. So
Yeah.
I think he's the most NFL ready as well. He's already basically played in a pro system when he was at ASU with Herb Edwards. I know they didn't have the best success, but he didn't have pro players around him. He had ASU players around him. And if you know anything about ASU, which we do, not the brightest stars in the sky. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I do think Jaden Daniels is at the top of this QB class as well. And he should wind up in a pretty decent situation.
I think he could. I don't know if he'll make the same impact that C.J. Stroud made last year, but I think that he could be a player that could elevate a team to and win 2 or 3, maybe 4 games by himself, like C.J. Stroud did last year.
If somehow Atlanta didn't get another quarterback and found a way to draft Jaden Daniels, I think that would be
That would
smart.
be
That would be an ideal situation for one of these quarterbacks to get in.
Absolutely. All right. Any other draft news you want to chat about? Anything else, fantasy wise, you want to?
Just pay real close attention to where these teams are going. All of these quarterbacks are likely to start in their rookie years. Pay attention to the weapons around them because they will produce fantasy numbers and probably at a high clip as well. So just watch closely. These quarterbacks are going to make noise in fantasy this year. So pay close attention.
All right, so that's our take on the NFL draft for the QBs. Be on the lookout. We'll chat more as the draft gets closer, as the combine wraps up. We'll continue to talk draft news and then find a way to sneak the 49ers in there every now and then. So 12 picks this year, or 11 picks. So it's nice. All right, be on the lookout for our next video coming up in about 15 seconds. We're going to go ahead and talk about the NBA for a minute. So be right back.